So, welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me we have some more RPG horror stories. I am so happy y'all been enjoying having guests on this show, such as Mary or Micah. Honestly, I didn't expect to have guests, it just kind of was a whim of fate, I guess you could say. All the models for my avatar and my friends' avatars have been done by me. I know they don't look great and they have some really weird jarring flaws. I did not expect them to be like video ready, like ever. It was a pet project that I wanted to work on because I was just really hyped to have a friend group that I could play D&D with, and I thought it would be really cool to have avatars, like 3D avatars of our characters. Who would have thought that these janky avatars would be used in videos like this one? I'm gonna talk to Micah and Mary and have them both show up again, and maybe even have them featured on a video together. But for now, I'm gonna get to my first RPG horror story for today. WIBA, or Would I Be an A-Hole If I Don't Invite Friend Who Needs an Odd Commodate. So I have a friend who is very interested in playing D&D, and I've been wanting to get him to interact with different groups, as he just came out as an atheist. The only group he has to socialize with are some pretty hardcore Christians, and it's just as bad as it sounds, especially as he was the token bi guy of their groups. I've been trying to introduce him to better groups than other, but my friend's schedule never lines up with him. He has heard of me running games and sounds like he wants to join. Hates that they're online instead of in person. Can't get why we're all playing online when we all live in the area. I told him that it was a hassle as most of us were returning from work, and at least 3 of us had over half an hour commute at that. He also told me that he was trying to stay off of Discord due to how addictive it was. I did suggest picking him up and just set up a burner account on my laptop, but then realized that I would have to go out of my way to pick him up, set up, and then drop him off every single time. I think your friend has something more going on than just dislike of online games. I don't know, I feel like there's a little bit that's not been told. Or maybe I just don't get it. I just don't see how Discord can be addictive. Unless you're looking for like meme Discords, then I guess they can be kind of addictive if all you do is just watch memes, I guess. The comment about online games not being their forte or they're not liking online games, they're convenient, especially after everybody already drove home from work. They just want to relax, unwind, not have to drive anywhere further. Whether they be playing with people locally or people from a completely other part of the world, playing online games is just convenient and easy. I'm pretty sure using Roll20 is like a super easy thing that most people do nowadays. If not that, there's Foundry, and that makes it boatloads easier because it's so customizable. I got some more things to say, but I'm just gotta keep on going before I ramble on further. I also have tried to invite him to other events in the past, but had not shown up, backing out the day of or the day before. I even invited him to a free one-shot and try some AL, but the issue of online came up and ended up backing out even when I was getting everything set up for him to just be in my living room. Wait, so they won't even try an online game? They just straight up off the table. Online games are just not a thing they're gonna be able to do. That is, what's the word for it? Picky? Like a picky eater, except picky D&D user that just wants to use one way or the other. Stuck in their ways? I don't know what's the right terminology for this one. It just feels very, very extra. He has seen me prepping during breaks at work, so I haven't second thoughts about letting him join in, but at the same time I want to help him find better groups, as he reminds me of when I became an atheist after realizing I wasn't straight. Would I be the a-hole? No, you're not gonna be an a-hole, because here's the thing. The miracle of online interaction is that you can interact with people from all over the world. Even though people locally around you may not be your cup of tea, you can find people all over the world and interact with them and do stuff with them and communicate with them and play games with them, whether it be video games or even TTRPGs, and it's amazing, it's wonderful. But if your friend decides to be super rigid and stuck in their ways, I guess, I think that's the way to say it. If they decide to just be so hard pressed on having to be a local game instead of an online game, and then decided to uninstall or I guess quit Discord because it was too addictive, maybe it's best just not to invite them to your game. The best thing to do is just tell your friend, sorry, it's just not gonna work out. I like to run things my way and I play things my way, but you don't like that. Or you could just alternatively tell them nothing and just play your games. On the one hand, I understand you trying to get your friend to try TTRPGs. That's completely fine. Nothing's wrong with that. Go for it. TTRPGs are fun as hell, and I would love all my friends to try them out. But you've gone far and beyond, and your friend has very particular stipulations behind trying things, such as no Discord, and no online, that makes it a little bit difficult if you're already playing online. Basically what your friend is saying, I want to try D&D, but not the way you're playing it. And if that's how it's gonna be, then that's how it's gonna be, I guess. Anyway, not an a-hole. Let's get to the next story for the day. Homophobic dungeon master kills off my cleric in a gross way. I used to play D&D at a local game shop before I went off to college. The group I was playing with were people I knew from the shop and would occasionally play Magic with. They introduced me to D&D and we ended up setting up a game. The DM was a part of this friend-ish group, although I knew him the least as he played Magic often. But he did play D&D. When we were making characters, we were allowed to basically invent our own gods to worship, as long as they weren't too overpowered or broke the rules of the game. So I created a goofy, flirty, neutral good gay cleric. He had remained one of my favorite characters to this day. But when I showed the DM my character sheet, he looked it over, rolled his eyes, and dryly said, "A gay cleric, huh? Like, you don't think a cleric might find that kind of thing sinful?" I laughed and explained to him that his religion is cool with homosexuality. He seemed annoyed, but I guess he couldn't really say no after explicitly allowing us to create our own gods of faith. The only stipulation was, don't make him overpowered, so as long as they don't give him any sort of main character syndrome benefits or anything of likes of that, I think it's fine. He would, however, throughout the campaign, constantly have me get attacked by holy cultists, basically a slew of different monsters and NPCs who fought to purify the land. They would attack my character for being gay. Jesus Christ, what? It got to the point of metagaming as some of the cultists had no way of knowing my character was gay before attacking. The excuse was, their gods don't approve of homosexuality, so they send their followers to attack you. Then of course the random acts of the gods that nearly killed me, like some random smite lightning as DM called it, or holy fire. It was insane and I almost died so many times, and would have if the party wasn't so well balanced and I was stacked to the brim with potions. The DM seemed obsessed. Like, I don't mind homophobic NPCs as bigotry can add layers to the world building and impact to the story, but this was just lame and stupid. Was the justification that you just smell gay in the air? Just, I smell a gay. I must find a homosexual. We must defeat the homosexual, cleanse it in holy flames. Or do you know how like you have a spell of like detect magic? Do you have the spell of like detect gay? For real though, how would they know? Does the god just give him like a gaydar or something? God-given gaydar. Now everybody that supports whatever god that's in the story has just an innate power of gaydar. Clearly the player's being like bullied by DM, but like it's hilarious to think, now my child, your gift from me I bestow to thee, a gaydar. Instead of spell like find familiar, it's find the gay. Instead of spell like identify, it's identify gay. Instead of scrying, we could spy on somebody. It's called gay scrying. Can only use it on the gay character. I think it's absurd and ridiculous that a DM is going this far into disliking a single character and just making it hell for the player, because now their player character is just constantly going to be hounded by these monstrosities and cultists and holy crusaders or whatever the DM wants to call them. It doesn't feel narratively interesting or anything sort of like fascinating. It just feels like targeting for the sake of targeting because you don't like that your player made a character that is gay. Nevertheless, the rest of the group was cool with character and none of us had actually died yet, so I stayed. But the fact that I hadn't died ended up pissing the DM off, as he would make rude comments like saying the party was full of min-maxers and how we were abusing the potion system by using our hard-earned gold to buy extra potions to survive the DM's homophobic murder hobo cultists. Wow, DM, your players are using the gold that you're getting as part of the reward to, what, use potions? Oh, so overpowered. I can't believe my players are trying to destroy the game by using potions. How dare they try to use potions in order to heal themselves from grueling battle. Don't they know that using potions is illegal? At least there's now a lore-relevant way that the enemies can track people down. Which group buys the most amount of potions? Christ, let's keep going. Well, the straw that broke the camel's back was that when our party got ambushed by a horde of orcs that surrounded us, this was an unwinnable scenario and very obviously so. The orcs target me on my turn, obviously, and down me immediately. They downed the party's wizard too afterwards. The paladin healed me and we tried to run on our own, but they all took opportunity attacks and basically TPK'd the party. Unfortunately, we weren't dead though. Man, I wish I just died. We woke up in an orog keep in the Underdark where we were all in chains. At this point, we were all kinda jaded IRL as we felt railroaded by the unwinnable encounter, but at least glad that we survived. We weren't expecting what would come next. A few orcs approached the party and orc chieftain said, "That one," as the orcs grabbed me, stripped me down, and the chief, according to the DM, forces his big green cock up your ass as the DM laughed. Huh? I shook my head and the DM said, "What? You gay? Don't you like it up the ass?" Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Christ, what is wrong with this DM? What the hell, dude? It's absurd. I can't tell if the DM is purposely trying to be this antagonistic bad guy, like cartoon level bad guy, or maybe the DM is just so tone deaf but is trying to be accommodating by thinking, gay players, yeah, let's put penis up their butt. That'll make him feel welcome. Christ. I told him how stupid the idea is and that gay people still want to be able to choose those sexual partners and not have sex forced on them. I think anybody, regardless if it's a TTRPG or IRL, would not want to have sex forced on them. DM. I also mentioned that I'm not gay in real life since the DM assumed I must be because of my character. DM then just flippantly ignored everything I just said and then began, I crap you not, calculating bludgeoning damage from the orc's speed. Christ, sorry. I really should not be laughing. The absurdity behind this. Oh my god, what are you doing, DM? It was 2d6 damage. It wasn't enough to kill me, so I had the other orcs struggle snuggle my cleric too. Until bludgeoning damage was enough to kill me. Oh my god. Christ, DM. What a story to tell. Hey guys, one day I killed my player character that dared to be gay in my campaign. How do I do that? Bludgeoning damage from orc penises. Jesus Christ. I was pretty checked out at this point. The campaign ended shortly after and I just went home. I made up some excuse as to why I couldn't play anymore and I just avoided the game store, so I wouldn't have to answer as to why I wasn't playing anymore. I mean, simply just saying the game is crap is good enough excuse as it is, because you're not exactly giving an excuse, you're being honest about it. After about 2 years, I came back and met up with some of my old friends from the game store, and got back to playing Magic, and soon Yu-Gi-Oh! And then D&D again. But I sure as hell wasn't playing anything with that DM again. Good. Screw the DM. Not literally, not like a bunch of orc penis. Going after your player just because of a distinct characteristic for the sake of distinct characteristic, like being a drow or being gay or not being a specific race or sub-race or whatever, unless it has a story narrative of some kind tied to it, it just feels very contrived. As a DM, you're able to create all kinds of cool stories that your players can embark on, and it just feels really strange that you just leave it to that. Hunt the character down cause gay, cause all my NPCs and monstrosities worship a god that gives them gaydar, so now they know exactly which character is gay. The DM could have done so much more with the story and make everyone's experience enjoyable, but instead they really wanted to single out the one player that made the character gay. The DM is just, I guess, not comfortable with gay characters to the point where they want to bludgeon them with orc cocks. Let's get to the next story. I'm done talking about this one. Ugh. New DM tries to increase the challenge and ruins the fun. Hello RPG Horror Stories. I've been a silent lurker with this account for a while now, never thinking, or at least hoping, that I wouldn't have a story to post here. I started up a D&D 5e game where I could finally be a player again, wherever DMs unite, with a friend of mine, Battle Master Fighter, his girlfriend, Thief Rogue, me, Totem Warrior Barbarian, a Wizard Illusion, and a Sorcerer, Lightning Dragonborn background. I'm not new with the game, so for my character I wanted to try a Bear Totem Barbarian. I flavored him as a split personality, the rage being his protective personality and the normal personality being childish in nature. I recommended Battlemaster to my buddy, when Blade and his girlfriend wanted to do Thief, for a sort of a Spider-Man Catwoman vibe with my friend. We started at level 5 and a set number of points we could put into our stats, with our level 4 being a feat. DM wanted to encourage feats more than stat increase, so we had high stats to start with. When we submitted our sheets, the DM takes a look at mine and replies with, "Oh god, you're one of these players. I don't like having power gamers here." I'm shocked. I ask if I could change something. "Nah, I need to learn how to play against your type anyways." And he moves on to my friend sheets, which he also has a similar but less vocal reaction. "No surprise the martial players are power gaming." Not everybody that creates characters for a specific build are going for like power gaming. On one hand, if you expect every single bear totem barbarian to be a power gamer, then that sort of just makes your players feel like, I guess I can never play a bear totem barbarian because my DM is gonna say it's overpowered, even though I want to try it out because it sounds interesting and I just want to give it a try for the very first time since I never tried it before. Or like me, I have a Gloomstalker Ranger. I didn't even know Gloomstalker Ranger was considered power gamer or overpowered in any way. I just thought it'd be really cool to make an Aarakocra Ranger that meshes really well with a Thief Owlin. Yes, me and another player decided to make two birds in order to stalk around, be thieving assassin types together, because, you know, birds of feathers stalk together. And Gloomstalker Ranger had everything I wanted to play more like a thievy kind of like martial character. Feeling like you're restricted to a specific build or not able to play a specific build because others consider power gaming, that's kinda lame. Immediate red flags, but maybe it's just a bad experience. But that's what happened in our first combat that started the issues, I think. He told us he wanted to see what we could do, so he just threw at us a couple of goblins. The rogue manages to sneak around and get a brutal crit sneak attack on the bugbear god? They were worshipped, nearly killed it instantly. Me and my buddy, high five, two martial classes with Great Weapon Master against a horde of low health, low AC targets. It's gotta be fun. No surprise, but we wreck ass. The wizard, who didn't bring any damage spells, had to rely on cantrips and doesn't end up doing much. The sorcerer can't get a good line due to the three of us rogue fighter Barb being in melee, so she doesn't want to hit us with lightning bolt. I tell her just do it, I'm raging, I'll take half damage anyway. She gets a few kills but doesn't contribute much either. DM is fuming, mentions that marshals always do this and that he'll have to change some things for the next combat. Dude, why are you fuming? It's goblins. Goblins baseline without homebrewing anything have like incredibly low AC and incredibly low health. It's the same thing as getting mad at players for throwing in molasses and seeing how the players just stomp all over the molasses and be like, damn you players, you power gamers. You threw in something in there that has no way of combating the players in the slightest. Like, what do you think about your goblins gonna do? So maybe next time throw in like a, I don't know, like a mix of things, right? A few archers from a side, from range, that are able to repel the enemies from a side. Maybe a wizard character. Maybe a couple of hobgoblins could be pretty good. Hobgoblins have really good AC. You could put like a couple of them together and have the goblins be the flank cannon fodder, or the hobgoblins are doing like brunt of the offensive and stuff. Make the combat more dynamic. Or an ogre against the martial character, so they have to focus on that. A strategy and fun. I feel like this DM is gonna hardcore turn into DM versus players mentality, and that's gonna ruin the fun for everybody. The next combat / session is where the problems arise. DM tells us we're going to be fighting a sort of psychic group of bandits. Sounds fun. DM also says that he tweaked things to make it a bit harder on us three and to give the casters a chance to shine. Sounds great. I like challenge. I didn't, however, realize how much of a challenge. Psychic group of bandits. Okay, that's kind of funny, actually. That's actually really funny. The one thing that Bear Totem Barbarian can't resist is psychic damage, so just make everything deal psychic damage. These are the kind of DMs that I absolutely hate. I know I have a smile on my face, but it's because it's a bitter, bitter smile. You ever have a DM completely takes everything that you have in your kit, your entire class, and makes it non-existent and not able to have any effect whatsoever? Man, I feel that so badly. Oh my god. Like, no matter how hard you try to make a really fun character, the DM just finds every way to counter every single thing you have. Whatever resistance you have, they do the opposite of that. Any damage that you deal, suddenly the enemies resist all of that damage. Imagine firing Eldritch Blast with force damage, and everything on the battlefield has force resistance. Wow, that sounds like hell. I went through that. It was terrible. Rogue starts off by sneaking in. Bam! All the enemies seem to have really good perception. Or straight up true sight, as she ends up getting captured by Hold Person, then being tied up. Me and the fighter charge in, only for me to find that all the enemies have special weapons that deal psychic damage. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Bunch of bandits, psychic damage for weapons. Psychic damage weapons actually sound really cool. I like that idea. I'ma steal that. Not in this kind of way to like overpower a particular character that has the weakness to it, but that sounds really cool. I've never heard a weapon with psychic damage. This sounds great. Let's keep going. On top of that, the enemy caster targets me with barrage of intelligence saves, which I'm not good at as a barbarian. Even though I rolled a 17 total on a spell saving throw, I don't meet the DC and I end up getting incapacitated, and then the enemies suddenly all know to gang up on me, killing me nearly instantly. Fighter attempts to help. All the enemies have shield and an already high AC of 18. Rogue manages to break free and tries to run away. The enemies guarding her all have Sentinel and True Sight. Cause of course they do. She goes down as well. Fighter's the last one standing and manages to land a crit trip attack on the enemy. DM responds with, "She got up, she immune to crits," which royally peeves us off. It's when the wizard and the cleric showed up that things got really dumb. Wizard casts Hypnotic Pattern. All 10 of the enemies in the room fail the save and are rendered basically useless. In fact, they're in perfect position for a lightning bolt, all lined up. So there goes the lightning sorcerer. All the creatures fail the saves again, and die from the initial blast, or a second blast. 2 creatures left. Cleric heals the fighter and then me, and the wizard manages to attack and kill the final enemies with his quarterstaff, and now the enemies use shield to protect themselves. Sad's the story of why I'm not going back to this guy's table. Edit, there's a lot of other things too, but he really favors the spellcasters. I've tried talking to him and he's basically saying that we get to roll more dice and I have to think of how to counter you completely. You're resistant to all damage except psychic. I can't detect the rogue, and the fighter has stupidly high AC and so many attacks. It's just not fair for the casters. Casters can do some really incredible things. I mean, maybe there's an argument that can be made that early game martial characters are very, 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 very powerful, but that really doesn't mean that you need to completely make your martial characters obsolete in combat and then letting your cleric and sorcerer be the only ones that can actually do anything whatsoever. I think it's good to have a nice balance of things, right? To give every player the ability to contribute to the combat instead of completely hammering and lambasting barbarian, fighter, and thief with everything that's absolute nonsense. Like, every enemy has psychic weapons, but also have really high armor and shield, so they have an insanely high AC. But also have Sentinel as well, and True Sight of all things. You know what's really not fun? When you're playing as a player in a campaign and everything you do is useless, and you basically feel useless, and everything counters you, and you can't counter anything because your best is not good enough because you're gonna die anyway because it doesn't matter. So nothing you do will have any sort of effect about anybody anywhere at all. Like, it's fine to put on a challenge for your players and everything, but you can't just make your players obsolete in combat entirely, except the casters at this point. Being stuck in a crappy situation where everything is countered against you, it just sucks, dude. It drains all the fun from the player because it sets a precedent of, well, now that's what I'm going to be dealing with. Everything is going to be countered against me. Not every build is going to be impervious to everything. There are obviously going to be some weaknesses here and there, but you combine the weaknesses and the strengths of the players to create a challenging combat, not impossible combat. Combat is a delicate balance, and there is a way to make combat extremely not fun when you render player choice completely null and void, and it doesn't matter whatsoever. No matter what they do on the turn, it is going to be wasted anyway, so they might as well do nothing. Nothing kills the game more than having players that feel obsolete in the game. It just ruins all the fun and enthusiasm. Let me tell you, I've been in that situation. Not the martial situation, but kind of a similar, just reverse situation. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.